The year was 1926, and New York City was a world of gold, jazz, and forbidden dreams. Every night, the skyline shimmered like a crown, its towers glowing against the dark Hudson River. Men wore tuxedos even when they had nothing to celebrate. Women danced as if sorrow were a sin. Among the glitter and smoke lived Evelyn Hart, a girl who didn't belong to the world she dreamed of. She had come from Savannah, with a suitcase full of handmade dresses and a heart full of impossible hopes. Her mother had told her, "Never fall for a man who owns the night. He'll never have time for the dawn." But Evelyn, like many dreamers before her, believed love could outshine warning. The first time Evelyn saw Charles Beaumont, the world seemed to stop, or perhaps she forgot how to breathe. He stood beneath the chandeliers of the Blue Orchid Ballroom, a glass of champagne in one hand, indifference in the other. His smile was lazy, his eyes tired, the kind of man who had everything and yet nothing that mattered. Rumor said Charles had inherited his fortune from railroads and oil, but others whispered it came from speakeasies, those secret bars that defied prohibition. Whatever the truth, Charles Beaumont was a name every newspaper knew. When he noticed Evelyn, the girl in the pale blue dress, who didn't know anyone but danced like she did, he smiled. Not a polite smile, but a curious one, the kind a man gives when something unfamiliar touches his world. "Do you always dance alone?" he asked her that night, voice smooth as aged whiskey. Evelyn blushed. "Only until someone notices." He laughed, and the music swelled around them, a trumpet, a piano, and a heartbeat that didn't belong to either of them. Weeks passed like silk slipping through fingers. Charles sent her roses, white, never red. He took her to his mansion on Long Island, a place so large it seemed built to impress the stars. There were parties every Saturday night. Cars lined the drive, women wore pearls, and laughter spilled out like wine from broken glasses. But amid the crowd, Charles only watched Evelyn, always from a distance, as if she were a dream he couldn't quite touch. Sometimes she would find him alone, sitting by the bay, staring across the water. "What do you see out there?" she asked one night. He didn't look at her. "Something I once lost." Evelyn didn't press him. She only sat beside him, her head resting lightly on his shoulder. The moon hung above them like a silver coin, silent, cold, and watching.
The morning sun brushed against the sleepy town of Willow Creek, painting the streets golden. A quiet cafe on the corner, Maple and Moonlight, had just opened its doors. Inside, the smell of roasted coffee beans mixed with soft jazz, the kind of tune that made time slow down. Amelia Carter, 26, sat by the window, her sketchbook open but untouched. Her eyes wandered to the street outside, where life moved gently, an old couple holding hands, a boy walking his dog, and somewhere in that calm rhythm, she waited for someone. She smiled faintly. That name, Noah Parker, had been part of her life in the strangest way, through letters. They had met 3 years ago, not in person, but by accident. 3 years ago, Amelia had moved to Willow Creek from Boston, chasing her dream to become an illustrator. She rented a tiny apartment above the old post office. One morning, a letter arrived in her mailbox, addressed to Noah Parker, Apt 4B. Her apartment was 4A. She smiled at the mistake, almost tossed it aside, but curiosity won. The handwriting was neat, deliberate, like someone who still believed words could hold magic. "Dear Grandpa, I'm doing fine here. College is hard, but I'm trying. I miss the lake, the stories you used to tell. I'll visit soon, I promise. Noah." Something about the letter touched her. It was simple, honest, and full of warmth. So she walked downstairs and slipped it under the right door. But the next morning, another letter appeared under her door. "Dear stranger in 4A, thank you for returning my mail. I hope you didn't read it, though something tells me maybe you did. Either way, hello. Noah, the guy who still uses paper to talk to people." She laughed. And just like that, a story began, not in texts, not online, but in handwritten letters shared through a door. Days turned into weeks. Each morning, one of them would slide a new letter under the door. Stories, jokes, confessions, sometimes doodles or poems. Amelia told Noah about her art, her fear of failing, her habit of sketching clouds. Noah wrote about college, his music, and how he played guitar by the lake when life got heavy. They never met, though they lived just a few steps apart. It wasn't fear, it was comfort. Words gave them space to be honest. Sometimes she'd find small gifts, a pressed flower, a chocolate bar, a quote scribbled on napkin paper. The best conversations are the ones without noise. And she'd smile, tuck it into her sketchbook, and write back. One winter morning, the letters stopped. Days passed. No sound from 4B. Amelia tried knocking. No one answered. A week later, she found a note taped to her door. Dear Amelia, I got a call from home. My grandpa's sick, and I need to leave town. I didn't get to say goodbye, but maybe that's okay. You made this place feel like home. Noah. 4 months, she waited, checking the mailbox like it held her heartbeat. But the letters never came. And slowly, life went on. She focused on her art, started freelancing, even got her first big illustration project. But every drawing had one thing in common: a boy playing guitar by a lake. Back to the present. The cafe door chimed. Amelia looked up, and there he was. Noah Parker. Older now, a little taller, a little surer. The same soft smile she'd imagined 1,000 times in ink and paper. He walked toward her, holding something, a small box tied with string. Hi, he said, voice quiet but warm. You look exactly like your letters. She laughed, eyes already wet. And you look nothing like I imagined. You're real. They sat across from each other, the air filled with words unsaid. He placed the box between them. I kept them all. Every letter you wrote. Even the silly ones with bad doodles. She blushed. Those were artistic expressions. He grinned. You drew me as a cat wearing sunglasses. Still art, she said, smiling.